Welcome into Embody. This is going to be a really exciting 3 days together. I'm so grateful that you're here and that you are open to potentially learning something new over these 3 days. It's going to be an incredible experience. Before we dive in today, welcome in if you're new around here. If you're new into my world, my name is Jocelyn. I am a embodiment and business leadership and business coach. Okay, so I'm really excited that you are here. My intention with everything I do is to really help women to recognize their greatness within. Like, I know that you are an incredible woman. I see only your potential, and you're here for a specific reason. Okay, maybe if you're not even sure yourself of that reason right now, it will become quite apparent over the next 3 days together. So I know that um, I'm here to help you do something about this greatness that you feel, this urge to expand, this like desire to be, do, and have more than just average, right? You're here to lead in some capacity. So today we're going to talk about where you are now. Okay. So little bit of itinerary before we jump in. My expectations, be here, be present, even if you're here on the recording. I want you to get your notebook out. Hopefully you have something warm to sip on. Like, get your notebook and be fully as present as you can be. The replay will be available and will be actually when I send out the replay, there will be questions like journal prompts for you to fill in as well. So I want to encourage you to just take full advantage of this free experience, okay? Um, it has the ability to change the entire trajectory of your entire life going forward. There's a lot of information that we're going to cover here, and you're going to want to probably rewatch it more than once. Okay. So immerse yourself, get involved, absorb, like really get into it. Okay. The second thing I want to share is that I have a bonus graphic that I will send out with the replay today. And you will have the opportunity to share this bonus graphic, tag me on your stories. Okay, so this is a graphic that says it basically is embody, right? It's the embody I'm in graphic, and you get to share it on your stories, share it with the world, tag me, and then everyone who shares it and tags me gets a bonus one-on-one call with me with a custom tapping session. So this is really valuable and really sweet. So make sure you keep your eyes open for that share graphic. Okay. So let's get into today's conversation. So first, what is embodiment? Let's start there. Okay. So what is embodiment? Maybe you're like, embody, like, what does that even mean? What is embodiment? So embody itself, when we are to embody a specific, let's say like idea or identity, it has a lot to do with our self-image. So who we believe we are. And that's a lot of what we're going to talk about today. So what is embodiment? It's our ability to get emotionally involved with an idea or with an identity. And it's our ability to, let's see, like it's hard to say without saying the word, embody the thing. Okay. So if we are saying, we are calling in a deeper, a richer, more abundant, exciting experience. Okay. There's a version of us that has that thing. We're going to talk about that more today and tomorrow. Okay. That has that thing. So if we are to embody that new identity of that woman who already makes 5K months, for example, who already is an incredible leader in her community, who already is the head leader of this organization. Like, okay, the CEO of this business, the whatever it is, when we embody that version of us, we move differently. We think differently. We attract differently. We vibrate differently, like because we're on a different frequency. We're going to talk about frequency today. Okay, so this is embodiment, right? This is very closely related to manifestation. If you've been in my world for the past year or more, you know that I really truly live by and teach a lot about manifestation. Manifestation and embodiment aren't really separate, okay? Because in order to manifest or realize or create a new experience, there's a level of embodiment that is required. There's an embodiment of a new idea and a new identity that is required. So if we want to bring in, so you're here because you have this dream of leading in some capacity. You have this dream of living this like life of freedom, this purposeful life where you get to jump out of bed every morning so excited and lit up, like high on life. I heard from a past client yesterday as I checked in on her. You might have read this in the email. I checked in on her, how her first ever retreat went that she hosted over the weekend. And she said, I'm high on life. And I was like, yes, like this, like we get to be high on life. We get to feel this excitement every single day in everything we do. Okay. That is what we're calling in. We're no longer here for this average monotone, kind of like, oh, it's boring, it's lame, and it's also like full of lack and limitation. Oh, there's not enough for this, there's not enough that, or I can't do that because I don't have enough of this. We're done with that. Okay, we're here to live in the I'm high on life and this is what I get to do. And I actually get paid to be the best version of myself and have the most freaking fun in my entire life. And everyone else around me thinks I'm on drugs, but I'm actually just having the time of my life as I'm like solid in my purpose. Okay, that's why we're here. And so when we are in that frequency, right, that is attractive. That is where we start to attract the perfect people, experiences, opportunities, resources to us when we are in the full embodiment of a new identity and a new idea. Okay, so law of attraction states that, we live in a vibrational universe, right? The law of attraction is a secondary law to the law of vibration. We live in a vibrational universe. Everything has a vibration. It's very simple to see. You put anything under a microscope and you can see little molecules moving. Okay, so everything has a different vibration. And as a human being, our emotions have vibrations, our thoughts have vibrations, and they all have different frequencies of vibration. And I love this specifically, like there's some doctors in the world that will diagnose or that will treat the body according to their frequency. That's so cool. So if you think of like food, like living food has a higher frequency than dead food, like a box of crackers has like very low vibration. So for us, our thoughts of, I'm high on life, I'm ready to blow it up. It's a high vibration. We are in a high vibrational state. And when we are in a state of, I'm not enough, I don't know enough, like everyone else is better than me, I'm like, I don't even know what to do, I'm, in that like fight or flight or freeze, it's a very low vibration. Okay. And then we attract based on that. So it's a simple theory. So how is this rooted and connected into embodiment? Is that idea that we want to embody a new idea and identity. So over these 3 days, we're going to start discovering who that is connected, that has that idea, that has that experience already, that high on life experience. Okay. And we're going to start to bring it into our 3D physical world now so we can start to collapse time and quantum leap our lives. So it can happen like this, you guys. It is an instant choice. So we're going to start talking about it a little bit today, even more tomorrow, and definitely on day 3. So you're going to want to stick around for all 3 parts. And like I said before, there is going to be a recording that'll be sent out after each live session each day. Okay. So I want you to ask yourself, where do I believe I am right now? Keyword believe. Okay, because our beliefs create our reality. Where am I right now? Ask yourself that. Write it down on your note paper. Where am I right now? Where do I believe I am? Okay. So what we're doing here and where we are right now is majority of us, if not every single one of us here, is living up to our own glass ceiling. Okay, our own limit that others have made for us. Okay, what does that mean? So you've probably heard me talk about or mention Bob Proctor, who is like an OG manifestation law of attraction mentor coach from Canada. He used to call this paradigms. This is our paradigm. Okay, this is basically our programming. So similarly to a computer, similarly to a computer, we have a program. Okay, and right now you're here and you're feeling this like call for more because your program is due for an upgrade. That's what you're doing here. You're upgrading your program. Okay, we are always upgrading our program, and sometimes we're upgrading it in ways that don't really serve us. We're upgrading it or adding on new ideas that are of lack, limitation, struggle, stress, confusion, whatever it is, because whatever we are involved in and get emotionally involved in, we start to take on as new ideas. We start to take it on as new truths. So, what does that mean? So, a paradigm is basically a collection of thoughts, beliefs, and ideas that we have collected over our entire life. Okay. And the interesting thing about that is that we, like I just said, are living up to this glass ceiling, this paradigm that others have made for us. Okay. So well-meaning people throughout our entire life, maybe, you know, we grew up in a household where money was hard to come by, or it was something you had to work really hard for. Therefore, today, our experiences, we can probably see a lot of similarities. In today's conversation, you're probably going to realize a lot. Okay. Once we continue to build this awareness, we will see, once we go back and spend some time with some old friends or some family members that we haven't seen in a while, we start to see, oh, wow, that's where that belief came from, right? So it's really interesting that we will continue to live from the past until we realize we're doing it and we intentionally, consciously put a stop to it and we choose again. Okay, we're going to talk more about that over these days. So we're living up to our own glass ceiling that others have made for us. So if, for example, we were raised in a family where like entrepreneurship was like a struggle, or it was like, hell no, you go and get a real job. You go to school to like get in debt and go to school again, and you get a real job and you are going to be a lawyer or a doctor, and you have benefits and you get a good annual salary and you have job security and you have, this annual vacations, paid sick days. You go and you do that. Okay, maybe that was our reality. And maybe part of us is still holding on to that, even though our soul is screaming for more. We're like, I know I'm not here for just working for the weekends. I know I'm not here to just live up to someone else's standards. Like there's so much more inside of me that just wants to fly. I want the life of freedom. I want the reoccurring financial stability for my family while I'm out traveling the world, receiving Stripe payments, right? That is the life I want. I don't want to be strapped to a desk. Okay. And so this is what we're talking about here, is that these paradigms, this programming is outdated. It is something that we've been carrying it along. We've been kind of carrying it with us and maybe have been unconsciously living up to it, because the paradigm has, as Bob Proctor used to say, it has, I think he said something about like 80%. It controls about 80% of our habitual habits. Okay. But most of what we do in a day is habitual. So think about that for a second. Most of our day, we are on autopilot. So unconsciously moving throughout our day, thinking thoughts that we've just thought the same thought for pretty much our entire life. Okay, we've moved the same. We've like relatively the same. We've lived up to the same standards for the past 30 plus years. So when we start to think of it that way, and we start to realize that we create as human beings based on our thoughts and our beliefs and our ideas, because they all have vibrations, and then they drive our actions or lack of action, we can start to see why we have the results we have. Okay, but once we start to shake up the paradigm, which we're going to start doing tomorrow, we start to our conscious mind starts to get really loud. and starts to say things that are not real, but they feel very real. Okay, things like, who are you to do this? You know, that is selfish to want more. Okay, what are they going to think? What if you fail? Right? All of these things. And it's going to be like, you're going to fail. Your mind's going to tell you stories like that. And it's going to show you proof. It's going to dig up old memories. It's going to bring up all this proof for you to show you like a whole like book report on like why you shouldn't do something different. Okay, we know this. And we've had it happen to us before because you've tried to go off the path before. You've tried to break free from the system. You've tried to go on your own way. You've tried to start a business in the past. You've tried to, whatever it is, you've tried to lead in the past in some capacity. But there came a point where you started to doubt yourself again. You started to fall back into old habits and old patterns. And you started to listen to those thoughts. And then you're here now. You're here now. Most people find me when they're in that contrast. Okay. Because you've been calling it in. You've been calling in a bigger experience, but you've also been calling in someone to guide you. And that's where I came from. Okay. So the paradigm can be really strong. It can be really strong. And it can be something that is like it feels like it's like unshakable. Like it feels like it's like this big demon that you cannot slay. Like it'll continue to take you down until you understand it and until you realize what's happening. Okay. A lot of you know my story of how I decided to go from government housing as a single mom, struggling financially and emotionally to living in Costa Rica as a single mom to a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. We got on a one-way flight to Costa Rica. Okay, so what changed? My financial situation changed. It did, but something changed before that. I did. I changed. I decided that I was no longer who I had been existing as for so long. Okay, and I decided that I was no longer going to go down the path that I was raised. Okay, do you see that? And now I want you to think of maybe where you are right now, your current results. Is there or are there any similarities to how you were raised or something that happened in your life? I can pretty much guarantee you can start to see like, oh yeah, my mom doesn't care for herself, always puts other people first. Now she's in a poor state of health, whatever it is, like, and you can see these similarities, but you have the advantage because you are steps ahead of maybe the people who raised you that maybe still don't realize that they have the power to choose. Okay, I strongly believe that anyone, I don't care of your situation or circumstances, has the ability to change, has the ability to change their circumstances in a second. Okay. So how do we change it? How do we change it if we recognize now that we've been in this cycle? We've done it for years. I know you have. I know you have. We've done it for years where you go all in on something and then something happens and you're back in again. Okay, you try to go and do this thing, or you try to take action in a different way, or you try to, usually this happens every January, and then by February we're back in the old paradigm. Oh no, it's too hard, or like I could never be an entrepreneur. I don't know enough. I don't know enough. Or everyone else is so much better than me, or the online space is so saturated, or I don't know enough about blah blah blah. I need to go take another course. No, you don't. You don't. You need to learn how to trust yourself. Okay. You need to learn how to trust yourself and turn the dial up on you. Okay. So I'm going to teach you that. I'm going to teach you that this week, these 3 days. All right. So how do we change a paradigm? God, I'm cold. I'm like moving around. I'm cold. How do I change a paradigm? there's two ways. According to Bob Proctor, there's two ways to change a paradigm. Okay. So one is through drastic emotional impact. So something big happens. So in my situation, I actually was playing with the idea, oh, I want to get out of Canada for the winters. Like, I don't know how, like the usual story. I don't know how I don't know the resources, like the money's not here. What if I do this? And what if something happens? And like, I don't know. And then I got in a car accident with my baby in the car on the way to pick up my son from forest school. And in that moment, I decided, I was like, I'm out. Like with every cell in my body, I decided. And then from that moment of making that decision, my entire life began to change. And it began to change really fast because I went from being in that struggle, maybe victim mode, to holy fuck, I'm going to take my power back and I'm going to step into owning my own life because no one's coming to save me. Nothing's going to change until I do. And I began to move differently. Okay. The financial security came because I changed first. I changed first. I moved differently from that decision. So often we get stuck in the cycle of, I don't know how, I don't know enough. No, you do. You just need to know how to trust yourself. Okay. So if we're going to continue to say, I don't know how, I don't know how, I don't know how, honestly, like you're not going to know how. You're not going to figure it out. Okay. So, of course, there's this masculine model. The old model is trying to figure it out, working harder, working more, um, goal setting, and then reverse engineering. Like I see people with like these 5-year plans, and then they're like, we're finally here and we've done the step by step by step. Like, that must have been exhausting. Sorry, that must have been exhausting, right? So yeah, we get stuck in that cycle. We get stuck in that cycle. And it's really easy for us to stay there. It's really easy for us to get wrapped up in the how, right? Um, Here's the biggest thing that I want to tell you though, is that the how is not up to us. The how actually doesn't, it's not up to us. It actually doesn't matter. Okay, so if we're going to get stuck in the how, and someone operating in the old system of masculine, like figuring it out, working harder, they're going to say the how does matter actually. But I'm here to tell you it doesn't. When we're here and we are in our feminine, our energetics, our embodiment of a new idea and identity, the how actually doesn't matter. Okay, so it's not up to us. And when we try to control it, we very much limit ourselves. We very much limit ourselves. Okay, so once we realize that the how is actually out of our control, um, we begin to like play in a whole new realm, a whole new realm. So what do I mean that the how is out of our control? And what is that like? How do we work with that? Okay, so our mind only knows what it has learned. Like if we're coming from our mind trying to figure something out, we're going to come up against resistance and limitation because our mind only knows what it has learned. And so, yeah, of course, if you're coming at it from like a trying to figure it out the masculine model, you're gonna encounter, I don't know. I don't know how. It's not like it doesn't make sense because it doesn't make sense. Logically, it does not make sense. Okay, but when we come at this from a standpoint of, I am not just my body, I am so much more than just a human body. I am a spiritual being. And I'm not saying religious, okay? There's a big difference. I am a spiritual being that resides in a human body. And I am deeply connected to everything and everyone around me. Therefore, I have the ability to connect in with something bigger than me through my intuition. The intuition, I see it as the channel between the greater spirit, source, God, creator energy that we actually are and the human experience. That is what the intuition is. And so if we are not allowing ourselves to trust ourselves or listen to our intuition, we've cut off the channel. We've got a block in our hose. Okay, does that make sense? I trust this is landing for you guys. Like, so of course it doesn't make sense. That's the point. It doesn't make any logical sense. A lot of what I do makes no logical sense. Embodiment, when we're talking about manifesting and calling in this experience that is so big and so beautiful and so bold and so robust, that like high on life experience doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense, and that's the point. That is how we quantum leap, is we embody that new idea and identity now, and we hold it through a healthy and balanced and supported nervous system, which we're going to talk about in a little bit here. We have the ability to quantum leap into that reality by attracting it into us because we are vibrating in a different state. Okay, you following along here versus the how do I do it? I'm going to take one step and then the other and figure it out and work harder. I got to work harder to get to where I want to be. That's not how we do it around here. Okay, a single mom living in government housing with like very little to her name, building a business at home as a single mom alone with her two kids 24/7, does not just go from that to living in Costa Rica in less than 9 months, 8 months, following a logical and linear path. I quantum leaped because I changed my identity. And I decided right then and there that I was no longer that. And I was this. And my business grew really fast. The financial means came. The connections came. Actually, through that, found a friend living in Costa Rica, totally randomly. And that led me to there. One thing happens after the next. But what needs to happen first? The decision of the new reality. A decision of a new identity and new ideas needs to happen first. Before any of that, I call that the bridge of incidents. Happens one after the next. You're like, how the fuck is this happening? Like one thing leads to the next and leads to the next. Sometimes people like to say, well, how would you do it? Like, what's going to happen with this? And sometimes my reply is, I don't know yet, but it's going to come. Because I know that there's a little bit of things that need to happen first, that need to come first. I see it as like pieces to my puzzle. And they all lead to the next. Okay. So you've heard me talk about the bridge of incidents probably in the past, if you've been in my world for a little while. I see it as this literal bridge. Okay. And when we are in our power, like trusting ourselves, leaning into our intuition, like really truly turning up the dial on ourselves and embodying that idea and that identity, we're on the bridge of incidents and everything is fucking happening. Like we're opening our eyes and we're like, oh my God, like how is this even happening? Like, how did this just get delivered to me on a silver platter like this? Okay. It's like, it blows your mind all the time, every day. When you're on that bridge of incidents, you're in alignment, you're vibrating in the frequency that matches your desire. It's fast. It's fast. Okay. And we continue down the bridge of incidents. The more we trust ourselves and we take action, it's not like we're just sitting around, how come everything's happening and falling from the sky for me? It's not that. It's we're receiving, ooh, I should call Sue and see what she's up to. You know, it's just like why would I call? I haven't talked to her in so long. You call her, and all of a sudden she's going to Costa Rica, and then something and something and something. Like the bridge of incidents is absolutely insane. Like it's crazy what happens. But we need to listen to our intuition. You need to trust yourself. You need to trust yourself. You are the only one that's going to come and save you. And you're ready, and you're here now. You're ready to go. Okay. So the wildest things will happen. The more you trust yourself and lean into your intuition, but then you need to take action from there. You have these ideas that you originate and you're like, ooh, Sometimes I'm in the middle of writing something and I'm like, do. And then something's like, open Instagram. And I open Instagram and I'm like, oh, wow. Right? It's something I needed to see, or something, it's a message from somebody, or like, it's most of the time it's something I needed to see, and it impacts what I'm writing. Isn't that crazy? So all of this is coming back to this realization that we are not just a fucking body. Okay, we're not just a body walking around in this like meat suit. Somebody said that the other day, and I was like, oh, that's too much. We're not. We know that. You've thought of somebody and then they walk by, right? You've wondered how's blah 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 doing, and then they call you. That is us being so connected to one another. Okay, we are such intuitive, creative beings that most people don't even fucking know. Most people think that we're the same as cows and animals. But as far as we know, the cow is not dreaming up how he's gonna live his dream life, right? Humans have these higher faculties that, as far as we know, the animal kingdom do not have. Humans have this ability to create anything from nothing. From nothing. Okay, everything. Look around you. Everything started as an idea in someone's mind. So these ideas you have in your mind, in your imagination, and you're like, oh, fuck, that would be amazing. Like, I would absolutely love this. They're yours. They're yours for a reason. No one else originated that idea. And even if you go and looking for proof that other people have not originated that same idea, you're probably going to find it because we're connected. But no one can bring it to the world like you do. No one. And all you need to do is turn up the dial of you. Okay. And how do we do that? Trust ourselves. Give ourselves space to heal from the past, to release and let go, right? And to trust ourselves. Sounds really easy. And it kind of is. But it's a repetitive process. Okay, it's a repetitive process. So how do I change a paradigm? I started to say, first way is through drastic emotional impact. Something big happens and it changes you at your core. Okay, it changes you. And most of the time, this thing is not good. Most of the time, it's a negative thing. Somebody dies, and you're like, fuck, like I'm living my life. I am now going to change. Okay. So sometimes it's really intense. It doesn't have to always be negative. Okay. So another example is I had a friend who was a meat eater and, dairy consumer her whole life, and then watched a documentary on like the behind the scenes of that industry, those industries, and it changed her. In that moment, she's like, I'm vegan now. I'm not okay with what's happening. Okay. And it changed her just like that. She just decided, okay, this is incredible. And we have the ability to change our identity at any moment. Okay. Most people don't understand this. So, for example, if we've been saying, I want to be healthier, I want to feel better in my body, I want to look or feel better in my body and be healthier, and my body will be more optimal. I want that, but I don't have time, or I don't have the money to go to the gym, or I don't have the whatever it is. I don't have a babysitter. I don't have whatever. We're going to continue to live up to that standard. We're going to continue to create those ideas from there. Okay. But the realization is this: go buy yourself a set of light hand weights, a stretchy band, and throw on YouTube for free for 20 minutes every day, and you're going to transform your life. It's not hard, but it's a choice. It's a conscious decision every single day. And so we have the ability to go from, oh, I wish, I hope, I want this, but da 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 da, to go into, I am now somebody who chooses to move her body intentionally every single day because that's who I am. It's part of my identity. When we do that, there's no struggle, there's no stress, there's no overwhelm, there's no figuring anything out. We just go and we do it because that's who we are. So, this is how we change an identity. This is how we change a program or a paradigm. We override it. Okay. So, a lot of the time, the second way to change a paradigm, a lot of the time is through constant repetition. Constant repetition. Okay. So, we talked about this a few times now. We've tried to do something new in our life. We've tried to go off the path. We've tried to go out on our own. We've tried to start a business. We've tried to become the woman we know we're here to be. And something happens. That's a paradigm. So what do we need to do? Get back on the fucking bus. That's it. We don't need to set up a tent there. We don't need to build a house there. We don't need to, drown in our sorrows there about how shitty we are and how we're a failure and how we can never do anything right. All we need to do is get back on the bus, get back on the bridge. Okay. When we're talking about the bridge of incidents, the moment that we question ourselves, we listen to those stories and we get emotionally involved with them and we start to question, like, yeah, actually, what the hell was I thinking? I am fine here. Like, this is fine. I'm so selfish to think I want anything other than this. How would I ever possibly create that? Like, I have no clue how I would do that. What was I even thinking? We throw ourselves off the dang bridge. We throw ourselves off the dang bridge. Okay. And all we are is we're underneath the bridge, swimming in the river. Okay. But most of us choose to stay there, swimming in the river. I'm such a failure. So bad at this. Could never do anything different. I'm fine here. Like, I guess I'm not an entrepreneur. Continue swimming in the river below the bridge. All we need to do, swim to the side of the river, climb back on the bridge, and there you are in a simple thought to change. Okay, all it is awareness. Oh, right. Okay, so I've fallen into old habits and patterns again. Dang, I don't want to do that. Let's go back. I'm actually here for this. I know that this calling I have in my soul is mine, and I know I'm going to do it. I know that I don't need to know how. I know that I'm going to surrender and I'm going to seek out support and guidance so that I don't throw myself off the bridge and set up camp and like exist there for another 6 months again, right? I'm going to hire a coach. I'm going to get myself in the room with people who are also moving in the same direction at the speed that I want to go. Okay, and you see how we can start to override the paradigm when we do that. So I use the example of a jungle trail, and I know a lot of you here have heard that before. The jungle trail is an example because I live in Costa Rica. I am currently in Canada, that's why I'm like freezing my butt off here. But the jungle trail is basically, we've been walking down the same trail through the jungle our entire lives. This trail is so clean and bare, and there's like nothing on it. We don't even need shoes to walk on this trail. We've been walking on this trail for our entire lives. So what is the trail? It's our thoughts and beliefs and ideas. It's the way we do our life habitually, robotically, unconsciously moving through life. Okay. I just want to address that this doesn't mean that you're just like, meh, meh, like robotically moving through your life. I mean it on a little bit of a deeper scale here. Okay. A little bit deeper, meaning that the thoughts you think, the beliefs you hold are running your life and creating your results. Okay. And those beliefs and ideas came from your past. Something you went through, created them, and solidified them in your mind because you practiced over and over. That's all a belief is. It's a thought over and over and over. And when we think something and believe it, we will begin to see it because we create our reality through our thoughts and our beliefs. So it's this cycle that I want you to become aware of. So I'm not just talking like, oh, I'm like waking up, drinking my and going to work and then coming home. And it's no, I know you guys don't live that life. I know like 99.9 of you that are here with me live and on the recording, you don't live that life. I attract women who are already on the path to their dream life, who are already like living a piece of their dream life now. We already are living outside of the system. We are already doing things and doing life in a way that doesn't make sense for like 90% of society. Okay, we are the weirdos. I get that. I just want to address that. I'm not saying you're robotically moving through your life like everybody else is, because you're not. It's the thoughts and beliefs that you're holding right now that you have running through your mind on repeat that I'm addressing here. So that jungle path is actually your thought processes and your beliefs. Okay, it can be beliefs around yourself, your self-worth, your own abilities, your financial situation, your relationships. Like our results show us our beliefs. Okay, so if we continue to attract a certain type of person into our life as like a romantic partner, there's a belief there. There's something there. Okay. If we continue to have just enough money, like we're just enough, there's a belief there that needs to be addressed. Okay. So we're going to talk about that on day 3 as well, a little bit more about the financial piece, because there's more than just a belief. I don't want you to think, because I actually was stuck in this for so long. I don't want you to think that, oh, I'm blocked in my belief. That's why I'm like, have no income. That's why I'm not making the money I want to make. No, you need an exchange as well. And we're going to talk about that on part 3. Okay. And a little bit tomorrow. All right. But you see this jungle trail is not just you robotically moving through your like 9 to 5. No, I know you don't do that. This is your thoughts. This is deeper than that. Okay. And so the jungle trail, once we go to step off and we're like, okay, I'm going to go for it again. I'm going to like start my own business and I'm going to lead in this way that feels so good to me, that like brings all my passions and my purpose together, and I'm going to go for it. We step off the trail a couple steps. What happens when you step off a jungle trail in Costa Rica? You probably might step on a boa snake. You're probably going to get attacked by some fire ants, right? Like these are all things that are going to come up, and it's up to us to decide what we're doing with them. So those fire ants and that boa are the representation of old thoughts and ideas that are going to try to take you down. They're going to try to take you down and try to show you that it's better, it's safer to be on the old path. Okay. So this has a lot to do with our nervous system and our ability to hold new ideas and new identities. A lot. We're going to talk about that in a second here, because this is really important. So when we're stepping off the path, we've done this before. We've been taken down by who knows what out there. Okay. And we've ended up back on the path. So what do we need to do to override this? What do we need to do? The second way to change a paradigm? Repetition. It sounds lame, it sounds boring, it sounds dumb, but it's actually how we're going to do it. We need to go again and again and again. And this time when we go back through that jungle trail, that new path that we're paving, we don't just go alone, right? We take our coach with us. We take our mentor with us. We take our machete with us. And we're not like we're slaying animals, but we are stronger than them now, and we realize it. Okay. And we get to continue on down that new path. No matter what comes our way, we now become resilient and unshakable in our own belief, in our self-worth. We trust ourselves. We trust in something bigger than us. And so those things that were coming up and will continue to come up, instead of it being fire ants, going to be like a dang jaguar down the trail. Because the bigger decisions we make, the bigger, bolder moves we choose to make, the bigger perceived hurdles, struggles, roadblocks, whatever you want to call it, will come up. So the question is this: are we ready and willing to change our situation? Are we really truly committed to doing the work? And I don't want it to sound like it's a big struggle or it's something that's like a quantum, like needs to be a like big quantum collapse and crumble. It doesn't need to be that. Okay, there will probably be some shifting, some shedding, some letting go, some like, some releasing for sure. There's going to be a lot of realizations. There's going to be a lot of awareness that's going to come up even just today. Okay. There's going to be probably a lot of like kind of hard truths and realizations that you're like, wow, fuck. Now I see so clearly why I've been on this cycle, why I've been on this path, and what has happened to me in the past when I tried to step off, when I tried to pave my own path. But now that you have the awareness, you have the ability to change it. So how do we change it? We go again. We get up and we go again. We become more prepared. I'm not saying you need to go and like go back to school or something like that. We need to recognize our own innate wisdom within. We need to realize we are fucking worthy of everything and more that we desire. Because right now we can only see this much of what's possible for us as human beings. Okay. So we need to recognize and own it that we are ready and we're worthy. We want more. We want those richer experiences. We want the depth and the purpose and the high on life feeling every freaking day. And that doesn't mean that we're just like, what's the word I'm looking for? Doesn't mean that we're just like detached from all our reality and we're just like living in Delulu land. There is a piece of delusion that's going to come here, and we're going to talk about that tomorrow. But we are not in any way not involved with our current 3D results or our families or our kids. We are very much present, but we are present in a very intentional way. Okay. So there's a separation between where we are now and where we want to be. We talked about the vibrational frequency separation. There's an identity separation. There's a belief that we aren't there yet. What is that belief? I want you to write it down. Why do you think you're not there yet? Why is this not your reality right now? Okay. We're not good enough. We don't know enough. We don't have the resources. We don't know how. Drop the how, please. You don't need to know. All you need is a desire for a new experience, and you need to make a decision that this is what's happening. Okay. So before we close out today, I want to lead you through a quick tapping session, because tapping is one of my favorite tools that I use to reprogram the subconscious mind. So break out of an old paradigm, old ideas and beliefs, let go of them, right? But also I use it to attune to a new frequency of this new idea and identity that we're calling in. Okay. So if you've never done tapping before, it's really easy. You just follow me and tap on the points. I'll say the points and you just repeat after me the phrase or the word or the sentence that I say. Okay. So today I'm going to take you on a short tapping journey to go from where you believe you are now to opening up to a different idea through healing something that happened in the past that caused this belief or idea. Okay, are you ready? So take a deep breath. I want you to sit up tall, roll your shoulders back a few times. Take a deep breath in through the nose, hold the breath, and exhale through an imaginary straw. I'm going to take one more big breath like that. Full inhale. Exhale out the imaginary straw. Good work. Okay. I want you to start by tapping on the side of the hand. Take another breath. Just repeating after me. I know I'm here for so much more. I know I'm here to live the life of my dreams, where I feel like I'm high on life. But there's something in the way. There's something that I believe is holding me back. And I'm ready to understand that thing now. I want to get to the bottom of this because I'm really done living in this old way. I'm really done with starting and stopping. I'm really done with living up to other people's standards and creating the same fucking results over and over again. I'm ready to shift this. So I am going back in my memory and I am thinking of a specific time when I had a situation in my life that was similar to this feeling I'm feeling. That was similar to this reason why I believe I am not where I want to be. So something happened, or somebody told me something that I've been holding on to. I've been still believing that this is my truth. And I can see so clearly now why my results are how they are. Because I've been reliving this truth for so many years. So this thing that this person told me, or this experience that happened to me, didn't feel good. Looking back now, I know it's not my truth. I know it doesn't serve where I'm going or where I want to go. But I know that person or that experience meant well. I'm ready to forgive them or that experience so I can move on, so I can break free from this cycle, and so I can live the life I know I'm here to live. Let's go to the top of the head. I am so ready to heal this. Eyebrow point. This idea or this situation that happened, side of the eyes, that I've been holding on to for years. Underneath the eyes, I see so clearly how it's been affecting my results. Underneath the nose, these thoughts and beliefs. Underneath the mouth, and I'm so ready to let them go. Collarbone point, I'm so ready to heal. Under the arms, to forgive. Under the chest, to move on. Wrist point, and to fully embody the version of me I know I'm here to be. Top of the head, this version of me who is limitless, Eyebrow point. This version of me who is high on life. Side of the eyes. This version of me who is inspirational. Under the eyes. This version of me who is fill in the blank. Underneath the nose. I've healed from what has happened. Under the mouth. I've blessed it and released it. Collarbone point. I know there's so much more to life than my current results. Underneath the arms, and I'm ready to go for it. Underneath the chest, I have desire. I have a desire for so much more. Wrist point. And so even though my current results, top of the head, aren't exactly how I'd like them to be, eyebrow point, I'm making giant strides forward today. Side of the eyes, as I am choosing to heal from what happened. Underneath the eyes, as I am choosing to let go of these old ideas and beliefs. Underneath the nose, and really truly connect into my purpose now. Underneath the mouth, I'm here for a reason. Collarbone point, everything's happening for me now. Underneath the arms, I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. Underneath the chest, and there's no way I can fuck it up. Wrist point, I release control. Top of the head, and the idea that I need to know everything. Eyebrow point, I no longer need to figure it out. Side of the eyes, or work more or work harder. Underneath the eyes, I know I'm here for so much more. Under the nose, and I can feel it in my belly. Underneath the mouth, this urge to go bigger and brighter. Collarbone point, this urge to expand. Underneath the arms, this urge to expand my capacity to hold more. Underneath the chest, this urge to impact and influence people all over the world. Wrist point, and I'm ready to step into it. Top of the head. So even though these old ideas and beliefs will come up, eyebrow point, and when they do, they'll feel really real. Side of the eyes. I no longer am here to give my power away to them. Underneath the eyes, no matter what. Underneath the nose, I will choose again and again and again. Underneath the mouth, these old ideas and beliefs, collarbone point, no longer have power over me. Under the arms, they no longer own me. Underneath the chest, and this feels, how does this feel? Wrist point. And so it is. Continue on the wrists. It is done. It is done. It is done. Take one hand on the heart, one hand on the belly. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes. Hold the breath at the peak. Exhale through the straw. Take one more full breath like this. Exhale. Take a moment and open your eyes when you're ready. No rush. Notice how you're feeling. Notice any thoughts that are coming up for you. Write them down. What was the idea or the situation or the event that happened? Whatever you thought of first was right. And I want to address that there's probably multiple, maybe even multiple, 50 multiple. Okay. There is multiple situations, experiences, opportunities, circumstances, whatever, events that have happened that have made us who we are today. But we get to choose what we're bringing forward. We get to choose what we're bringing forward. And we have the ability at any moment to heal. We have the ability to bless, forgive, and release at any moment. And so I suggest that you do this tapping again and again and again and again. Okay. Do it every day. And your entire life is going to start to change. You know too much to go back to how life was. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Okay. You're not who you were an hour ago. You're going to go into the world with an insane amount of wisdom and awareness, with the ability that you have the ability to choose. So in any moment, I want you to turn on that awareness dial. Turn it on, and in everything you do, notice how you feel. Okay. Any interaction, any moment you're spending money, anything you're doing, I want you to notice how you're feeling. Notice the thoughts going through your mind. Okay. What does this have to do with leadership, entrepreneurship, being a business owner? It has everything to do with it. And I know this so fiercely, so much more than I have ever known in my entire life. Even after nearly a decade of coaching women in a business setting. This is why so many people give up. This is why so many people succumb to their circumstances and choose to stay in lack and limitation, even in poverty, when they can simply change it. But guess what? It has nothing to do with the outside world. It has everything to do with you. It's you. Okay, so no more pointing fingers, no more saying when the kids are older. It's you. Okay. So the way we lead ourselves is everything. We're going to talk more about that tomorrow. Okay. So all you need to change your situation is the desire for a different one. All right. Tomorrow, we're going to go even deeper into this as we expand into where we want to go and go even bigger. Okay. Watch out for the journal prompts that are going to be in the email with this replay. Okay. Do the journal prompts. Go into this deeper. I'm going to take the tapping from today's session, today's lesson, and I'm going to make it into its own little audio so that you can tune in easily. And I want you to do this over and over and over again. We're going to do tapping again tomorrow and the next day because it is an incredible somatic tool that really, really skyrockets our growth and our ability to hold and receive more, bigger, deeper, brighter, bolder, whatever ideas and experiences and beliefs. Okay. So remember, share the share graphic. Please share the share graphic on your stories. Tag me at the Jocelyn Dawn on Instagram or Facebook. I will reshare it, celebrate you, thank you. And everyone who shares it gets a free 30-minute tapping and coaching session, custom session with me. Okay. Go have the best day ever. Go have so much freaking fun. Blow it up. You're high on life. Like, own it. Okay. And I'm going to see you same time, same place tomorrow at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time in the same Zoom room. You'll receive all the links in the email. See you soon. Thank you so much for being here.